So I saw Avatar Fire and Ash in theaters. Now, when it comes to this franchise, it's not a franchise that I love. I don't like the first one. Second one I enjoyed, but still didn't think it was great. And when it comes to this third one, this movie has some of the same problems as the first two, and the same positives. With one new positive that I like about this movie. The positives with this movie is that, like the first two, it's visually stunning. It's a beautiful movie to look at. Even though I think this movie overall is very mediocre and just fine, okay. This is a movie you should see in theaters once because of the visuals. It's a movie you should see on a big screen because it just looks great. So visual wise, like the technical aspect of this movie, James Cameron knows how to make great looking movies. And CGI wise, these are the best looking visual CGI movies being released right now. So visually, it's stunning like usual. I thought all the actors gave most of the time good performances. Like there was times where some of the most of the moments, this is a negative, where I felt like it felt flat and kind of phoning it in a little bit at times for me personally. That's one of the negatives. When it comes to positives, though, most of the time I thought the actors were good in this movie. The only actor I thought was like terrible was the guy who plays Spider. Was I thought he gave like a really bad performance in this movie personally. I'll get out with the negatives. Most of the actors I thought were really good though in this movie. Sam Morton, Zoe, Zoe Saldana. I thought they were all pretty great in this movie. So Riva I thought was pretty great. Stephen Lang, I thought he was good in this movie too. The I would say the most positive about this movie though is the thing that had me the most interested was the Fire People. I think the actress who plays the lead of the Fire People, I think she's a cool villain actually. Like what they were set up for character. I thought could have been really interesting. I think she could have been a great villain. When we get into the negatives with the Fire People in this movie, where I felt like they had a missed opportunity with that. So those are the positive. And there's like one sequence in this movie where you do meet the Wind Tribe, which I was like, okay, that's cool, another Na'vi tribe. The negative with that is that only in one sequence of the movie, which I felt like you could have like definitely done way more with the this Wind Tribe. And that scene I think looks visually stunning in that scene. The negatives with this movie is that the plot I think is fine. To me it's mediocre, the story in this. The Fire People, which I think they set up really well. I was like, okay, I really like how vicious they are and how like they're like the more violent the other naive tribes. I like the look of the Fire People with the S on them and like the wet paint. Like I think they look cool. I thought they looked cool. And like I said, I think the leader of the Fire People, I thought she was a cool villain that they were setting that the movie was setting up. The problem with the Fire People in this movie though is that I feel like the middle chunk of the movie they just kind of disappear, and the leader of Fire People, the actress who plays the female Fire Na'vi, she takes a backseat to Stephen Lang's character, and basically the movie shifts the focus to him being the main villain yet again. And I love Stephen Lang, great actor, and they give him some stuff to do in this movie with his character where you see he's not maybe a fully bad guy. So I mean, there's an interesting aspect there with his character where I would say this is probably his best story arc out of the three movies, where he's not just playing the evil military guy in this. You get moments where it shows that there's more to his character. With him taking up so much of the focus, though, in this movie, where it shifts to like when he gets together with the fire chick, and he becomes the main villain again. I'm just like, I feel like to me that was a missed opportunity because I was really interested in the Fire People, And when Stephen Lang becomes the main villain, I'm just like, we already did this in the first two movies. Like I would compare it to the Matrix trilogy, where and if you count Matrix Resurrections too, where Agent Smith, I thought he was a great one-off villain in the first movie, and then the Matrix sequence became all about him fighting Neo, and it felt like the machines. It became less about them and more about Agent Smith. And I feel like with the Kono character, the military guy, Stephen Lang's character, it was like the movie became about him being the main villain yet again. And I'm just like, we've always seen him for two movies. So I was just like, to me, the Fire People was something new. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. I want to see more of this tribe, more of their backstory. Like, you get a moment where the Fire Lady talks about her backstory, what happened to her people, but I feel like you could have fleshed that out more. And to me, I feel like I would have been fine if she was the main villain of the whole movie. Instead, it's she becomes basically a backseat, and Stephen Lang's character takes over, and he's the main villain again. And also, the third act is like it becomes about the humans going after the Pandora's resources, and they have to fight the humans again. I'm like, we did this already in the first movie. We've had two movies with the humans being threats, and I'm just like, can we please not like do this like story again? So that's another problem I have with this movie. It feels like it's just repeating a lot of plot beats, character beats, story wise of Way to Wallow. And the third act of this movie basically feels like you took the third act of the first movie and the third act of the second movie and you put it together. So this movie feels it's very familiar. And I understand that James Cameron, the second movie was originally going to be like the story he had was going to be one movie, and then he split into two movies. And I understand this is continuing away from the second movie. That doesn't mean that you can't do it in a way where you make the movie feel at least like you're doing some new stuff. This movie feels so much like you're just recycling plot beats from that second movie. And even the action scenes was, yeah, they're entertaining in this movie. At the same time, a lot of the action sequences feels like I've seen this action sequence in the first or second movie. You don't see any new creases in this movie either. It's like you see basically all the like the main creases in this movie is the whales from the second movie. Hell, the action at the end of this movie takes place in the Wallow. Like it would have been cool if maybe if you had the fire people be the main villain, and the action sequence takes place on that fire mountain they showed. This is why I think they should have been the main villains of the movie, because that would have made the action sequence feel different. Instead, it's just feels like it's a repeat of this action sequence of the end of the second movie. So it doesn't really expand or do anything new with the world. The characters aren't that interesting to me personally. After three movies, I can't say I really feel all that emotionally attached to the characters. And there are moments where the emotional moments just felt kind of thrown into me. When it comes to Zoe Salmon, I will say this with her character, not T. I do like the element of her character, how like she hates the humans in this, and you see there's a darkness towards her character. So I think there was something that I do think that was a little bit interesting with her character. I still can't say I love the characters though. This is a nitpick. This is probably something that's only going to bother me. But when it comes to the teenage character, Jake and Natana's, I probably pronouncing Zoe Silence character's name wrong. When it comes to the actor that plays a teenager kid of their characters, the son, and the Spider character, I really got tired of hearing them like use the word bro. Like the teenager characters would constantly go bro, bro, and I was like, Jesus Christ. It's just this is a nitpick for me personally. Where I was just like, oh my god. Just I understand the teenager characters. It's how many times you're gonna repeat the word bro. It like reminds me of like in Halloween Kills when everybody kept repeating "Evil dies tonight," and this reminds me of that. Where I was like, how many times are we gonna say bro? Hey bro. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, you don't need to use the word bro so much in this movie. That's a nitpick for me personally. It's like I can totally understand it's something small that won't bother people. For me, I was like, it kind of got like annoying for me. They kept using that word, and then the dialogue in this movie. I think the dialogue. This is the worst. This movie has the worst dialogue out of the Avatar movie so far. There are times in this movie where it has some really bad, cringy dialogue. The Spider character gets some of the worst of it. I think there's a moment in the movie where he calls somebody like a butthole. And I'm like, it feels like some of the dialogue in this movie is written by a kid. So I thought the dialogue, just a lot of times in this movie, especially when a Spider character with dialogue, I was like, this is cringe. I also don't like the Spider character. I thought the actor who plays Spider, I thought his performance was pretty bad in this movie, personally. And I know he has some bad lines. His performance, though, I didn't think his character was all that great in the second movie. In this movie, though, I couldn't stand his character. I found his character annoying in this movie, and the dialogue is just, he gets just so much bad dialogue in this movie. And they also do all, and he becomes and I think the other problem is that he becomes an important part of the plot in this movie. When you see Sony Weaver's character save his life when there's a mass like one's out of the air, and she asks his great mother to save him. Which this is another problem I have with this movie. There's times where this movie's trying to. There's times where this movie feels like hopeless for them, and then out of nowhere they'll get out of it, and that to me feels like lazy writing in this movie. There's at times where I found the writing to be lazy in this movie, with like lazy conveniences that they would get out of it in the last minute. So that's another problem I had with the movie. It's at times it felt lazily written to me, with just some being able to get out of like certain moments. And that to me, with how Spider survives, was felt lazily done to me. So like, for me personally, I totally understand that this franchise has its fans. And you know what? I'm happy for people that really enjoy or love these movies. I'm glad people that really enjoy a lot of these movies connect with these movies. They connect with story and characters. For me personally, these movies are like the Tron movies for me, where I'm like, at least like the last two Tron movies, where they're visually stunning to look at. And I will say, and I guess I can say the original for when it came out. I don't think that movie holds up at all in the visuals in the original Tron movie. When it comes to those movies, though, the Tron movies, known for the visuals. And for me, with the Avatar movies, the problem I have with Avatar movies, it feels like the story and characters are just either okay at best or very weak. And just for me personally, the visuals aren't enough for me with movies. Like, I just don't feel attached to the characters. The story, I think the story's pretty, at times, cliche, at best, okay. And just overall, it's like these movies feel like movies where I'm like, yeah, they're cool movies to see at the theaters once because of the visuals. I never found myself really having interest going back to rewatch any of these. And this one, and if you're someone like me who's been lukewarm on these movies, which hasn't liked them, this movie isn't going to change your opinion. Like, to me, as someone who's not a big Avatar fan, this movie didn't change my opinion to make me all of a sudden in love with the Avatar franchise or will love these movies like some fans do. Like I said though, I'm happy for people who are really enjoying and love these movies. And even though I think this movie is mediocre, at best a very okay middle of the road movie, I would still say go and see it once because it's a visually stunning movie. Like it's a movie you should see in the theaters on the big screen once. On the other hand, though, if you're someone like me who's lukewarm on these movies and isn't like an Avatar hardcore fan, this movie ain't gonna change your mind. I'm coming as somebody who doesn't love these movies, who just this franchise just doesn't really click all that much for me outside of the visuals. So this movie didn't like convince me to all of a sudden get excited for these movies. So I would also say that if you're somebody who hasn't loved these movies, this movie ain't gonna convince you To me, this movie has the same positives as the other ones and the same negatives as the other ones. So that's my thoughts on Avatar Fire and Ash. Until next time, movie fans.